Welcome to The Rich Report, a podcast with news and information on the world of startups. Today, my guest is from Brand Yourself. We have Patrick Ambron. He's the co-founder and CEO of the company. So, Patrick, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I was checking out what you guys do. You help people kind of tailor their what comes up on when they Google themselves.
Yeah, so as you can see from the first slide, Brand Yourself is actually the first do-it-yourself platform that makes it easy for anybody to take control of their own Google results. So when you're Googled, be it by an employer, by a colleague, by a potential client, by the girl you met at the bar last night, you can make sure it's positive, relevant information, not negative, not irrelevant, and not information about somebody else with the same name. So we make it easy for anybody to do. So actually, if you go to the next slide, the history came from the problem having ourselves. My co-founder Pete, he couldn't get an internship in college, and we figured out the reason was he was being Googled and he was being mistaken for a drug dealer with the same name. So there was another person named Pete from around the same area who had, a bunch of bad results, and a lot of people thought it was actually Pete, my partner. So we realized Google is an incredibly important part of your reputation, but as you'll see on the next slide, basically, if you don't know how search engine optimization works, which most people don't, your only option is to pay a reputation company thousands of dollars to do this process for you. And that's not realistic for the average person. I had a background in search engine optimization. In college, I had a company that helped businesses look for various terms to get more traffic. And, I showed Pete, you shouldn't have to pay $5,000 to do this. This is kind of easy. I showed him how to make some content, make sure it would show up high, basically what that company would be doing for him. And he was able to bury that. But we kind of realized that this is something everybody needs to be doing. And because of how complicated and how expensive it is, most people aren't. So we kind of became obsessed with, if you go to the next slide, basically we wanted to put the power of this reputation management in everybody's hands, regardless of how, wealthy or tech-savvy they might be. So we wanted to create a free product that made the process dead simple for anybody to do themselves. And that's kind of what we spent, over years building. We put together a great team. We were able to raise a round of venture capital, and we've just been building it, and the product's launching soon. But that's what we wanted. We wanted everybody to be able to manage and improve their own search results without needing to break the bank or become really, really tech savvy. So we made it simple. If you go to the next slide, the way it works is users simply submit the links you want showing up at the top of Google. This could be anything. It could be a LinkedIn profile, could be a personal website, could be an article someone wrote about you, whatever you want. You submit it. Then if you go to the next slide, you'll see we immediately analyze that link and find everything you can do to make it show up higher. So as you can see here, I can see my LinkedIn currently shows up number 25 for my name, but there are 12 things I can do to make it show up higher. And if I follow that through and you go to the next slide, slide 7, you'll see for example, one of the first things I can do is if I want to show this LinkedIn showing up on the first page for Patrick Ambron, changing my name from Captain Chainsaw to Patrick Ambron would be a great start. And that's how it works. You can follow each of these steps that will actually make a link more search engine friendly, which is exactly what a reputation company does. And you can simply follow these steps to make that happen. If you go to the next slide, you'll see once you've submitted and submitted a bunch of links and you started boosting them, we track them as they improve. So you actually see them start getting better. And then we'll alert you when important things happen. So let's say something finally shows up on the first page, or something falls, we'll let you know. Or something unidentified appears on your first page and we don't know what it is. You get alerted so you can log in and kind of take the appropriate actions. If you go to the next slide, one of our more powerful features is also your Brand Yourself profile. Most of our users will build a Brand Yourself profile for a couple reasons. They're easy to build. Takes a couple seconds. They automatically look good, and more importantly, they're the only profile on the web automatically optimize to show up high for your name. So these things are going to show up on your first page, which is what people want. They want to make sure that people can find them when they're Googled. The other cool part about it is they're actually designed to actually help optimize those other links as well. So if you're trying to get your LinkedIn or that article about you up, by adding it to this profile, it actually passes search engine authority. So this profile actually goes to work for you to help optimize all of your links so they show up higher in search engines. Now, if you go to the next slide, our mission was to make this easy for anybody to do without having to spend really any money. So our product is free. Everything I just described is absolutely free. We also have a premium version of the product. That's how we make money, that some users can upgrade to get. The main difference being, as a free user, you can build your profile, we'll track all your links, and you can submit up to 3 links, any 3 links you want to boost and show up higher, and then track it as it does that. As a premium member, the main difference is you can submit and boost unlimited links. So for the average person who's just looking to be more visible, when they're Google, they just want to make sure, they've got a profile, they've got these 3 things people can find, that's good enough. For the people who need as many positive links as possible, say you have something embarrassing on the first page you're trying to bury, or you're looking for a job and you just want to make sure you have all these things you want to make sure people find. For a couple bucks a month, as you can see, it starts at $9.99 a month, or if you buy more in advance, it goes down from a year to $79. You can boost unlimited links. And there's also other benefits to that as well. We try to make people realize that this is actually part of their actual reputation. Other benefit, we try to relate this to your real-life reputation because that's really what we're helping you control. So if you go on a job interview, or let's say you go down to New York City for a job interview, you might get an alert a couple minutes later after you leave that says, hey, somebody from New York City just found you online. They Googled, they found you. And you're like, oh, that was that guy, or that was a girl I met last night, or whatever it is. We try to show you that people are looking for you, so you get that information. Now, that's all free. Now, as a paid member, you get a little bit more intelligence. You can find out, yes, someone from New York found you, but how they found you is they Googled, Patrick Ambron, Syracuse University. So you can find out how are people looking for you, and you can figure out how good you look. So you get a little bit extra benefit as a paid member as well. Now, if you go to the next slide, for those who are interested in, we've got a great team. We put our development team in place on people who have built really great products before. Everyone on the team is really dedicated to just making this product great and simple. You got me, Pete, and Evan, who are co-founders. You got Dan, who is he was the founder and CTO of SinglesNet, which he sold to Match.com about a year and a half ago, a really successful dating site, which he started from scratch, brought to 8 million users, and it was doing so well. Match kind of scooped it up so they could kind of put it in their own suite of things, and the developers below them all worked either for Match.com or SinglesNet with Dan. So we've got a team that's worked together before, know how to make successful products. So we're really lucky in that regard. And we applied that same mentality to our investors. We wanted to put a group of investors together who, also 100% dedicated to our mission. So we've got things like Zelkova Ventures, who, if anybody out there is familiar with companies like Clout or Fab.com or Rapportive, they were the earliest investors in those companies, and just really focused on taking early-stage products and just making sure those products are as good as they can possibly be. We help people show up high in search engines. So Barney's a great guy. He's a strategic angel investor. He was the founder of a search engine called PowerSet, which Microsoft bought and renamed Bing when they went into the search game. So, obviously, very good person to have on your team. Carl Schramm, he's the CEO and president of the Kauffman Foundation, which is one of the biggest entrepreneurship organizations in the world. So just a great guy to have on your team. And we just have a great team altogether, all dedicated to helping people put their best foot forward in search engines, which is just this big problem we want to solve. And that's basically, the high-level view of Brand Yourself.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Patrick. A couple questions here. It seems like Google has changed in the last month or so, right? They started adding these social media things. So, like, if I Google myself, am I going to see different results than somebody down the street who would Google my name?
Yeah, the nice the thing is, no two people are going to get the same Google results because they use things. Their Google goal is to give you the most relevant results possible. So they use
Mm-hmm.
things like your geographic location, if you're signed in, even your web history, your social graph to figure out, what is the most relevant to you. Because let's say we both Google pizza place. We're going to have
Yeah.
different relevant results, and Google's good at figuring that out. And they're even starting to incorporate social media into that. So if you're looking for a Patrick Ambron, and I'm looking for Patrick Ambron, and we both happen to be friends with different Patrick Ambrons, and we're friends with them on Facebook, Google's going to know you're probably looking for the one that you're friends with on Facebook, and you're probably looking for the one that you're friends with on Facebook. That all being said, the same optimization techniques apply to all of these things. And what we do is we give you a search score based on your first page, because that's the most important page of Google, because that's 93% of people don't leave that first page. What we do is we pull directly from Google's own application programming interface to get kind of the most neutral results, what the majority of people are going to find. And then if you follow our directions, we're going to just help you make sure your stuff shows up as high as possible. But I hope that answers your question.
No, that really does. I'm pulling up. I just Googled myself here, and because I write a lot, I've got four different online publications. I pop up. I'm the second in all the results after number two, right? But there's some guy named Richard Bruckner who is he's a chairman of a bank, so he always comes up at the top. So, would your service be more for people that don't have such optimal results, or do you think you could even get me up to the top?
Oh, we can help you too. Of
Yeah.
course, we really appeal to people who maybe have something embarrassing out there, something
Yeah.
specific
Yeah.
they're trying to bury. But the same token, you could submit those things you like. Maybe it's one of your articles. Maybe it's one of the articles you talked about. By plugging
Mm-hmm.
into you, we'll find things you could do to make them more search engine friendly. And
Yeah.
and then those can rise above that chairman of the bank and start pushing him down. And that might be nice for you because you just don't, someone Googles you don't want them to be like, wait a minute, is this the same guy? You want them to know these three articles right at the top are the right guy. So we
Yeah.
can help you kind of overcome your Google doppelganger, as I like to call them.
That's terrific. So, what about the other search engines? You mentioned Bing, for example. I mean, there's a lot of other solutions out. Do you guys work with that as well?
Yeah. So when I say Google, it sits, it's almost just like a verb.
Yes,
It's really
yes.
search engines. We're helping you, and when you're optimizing your links, you're really optimizing them for all search engines. It's not like what we have you do is good for Google but bad for Bing or Yahoo. It's good for all of them. We use Google just because that's what most people are comfortable with, and it's easy. You can say to a random person, "We help you control your search results." It might take like search results. You mean like Google? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
we just say Google.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, optimize links make them search engine friendly, which is good for all search engines. It helps across the board. So it helps show up higher in Bing and any other search engine as well.
So I would imagine, Patrick, that you guys with your board and your developers that you know how to make other things pop up to the top of Google with search engine optimization as well. Is that a future thing for your company, or are you going to stay focused on this personal branding?
Right now, we are laser focused on people. I mean, that's the problem
Mm-hmm.
I want to solve.
Yeah.
And this is just it solves one step. When your name is Googled, you want to
Yeah.
you want to control this impression, and
Yeah.
that's what we concentrate on doing. So right now, there's so many ways we can even make it to make it simpler for the user, and by staying so focused, that's what allows us to have a great simple product and keep it inexpensive and free. And as of now, that's the plan.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, Patrick, kind of a wrap up question here. I just noticed something this morning. I Googled the name of this guy from NASA, and a story I wrote about him just 5 minutes earlier popped up almost to the top of Google. The speed of that search engine just astounded me. Is that typical? Is Google really that fast, or is it just the fact that I was in the same location? Do you think? I mean, is it real time search? Is that what we're seeing these days?
I mean, Google gets faster. I mean, all search engines are getting faster and faster. And what you're seeing, though, is they really like relevant results, especially updated ones. Because let's say I'm looking up NASA, this thing just written, it's probably more relevant than the thing that's 10 years old. So what you're seeing is they always like more outdated content, and that's part of what you're seeing is, I mean, their spiders are crawling. I mean, part of what you just saw is luck.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen instantaneously, but yeah, I mean, they get fast, and that's why one of the things to help you realize is, listen, if you're trying to your LinkedIn is supposed to shelter your name, it's going to start falling if it hasn't been updated in 2 years. And we're going to alert you like, hey, this is falling, but one of the things you can do is like change your headlines because that'll help it. That'll make search engines say, oh, this is updated, this is relevant again.
Sure.
So yeah, what you're seeing is, yes, they like relevant things and they're pretty quick. But generally, we always tell people it could be as early as 4 days. It could be, you could see results this week, and sometimes it takes up to 6 weeks for search engines to really process it and decide to re-rank stuff. So it's kind of it's not always instantaneous. Sometimes it's really quick. Sometimes it's slower. It depends on if it's a really relevant term. If you're looking at car, those changes. If it's just your name, you might find that happening a little bit slower. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. So I guess, Patrick, what's your call to action for our listeners out there? They definitely hear there's value here for them. How do they engage with you guys and get their brand up there where they want it to be?
All you need to do, starting tomorrow, Thursday, February. What is today's date? March.
Oh, March 8th tomorrow. Yeah.
March 8th. Just go to brandyourself.com and you can sign up for your free account right then and there and get started right away. You don't ever need to contact us at all. Just go to brandyourself.com, sign up, and you should all be doing it. We're pretty accessible. There's numbers on the site, so if you get stuck or have a question, you can always call us, but it's really as simple as just doing it.
Well, terrific. Well, Patrick Ambron, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
And again, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay, folks, that's it for the Rich Report. Stay tuned for more news and information on the world of startups.